What's up, TNA fam? How's it going? We're back here at the Impact Zone podcast again, talking more TNA Slammiversary shenanigans, of course. Show basically just went off the air, at least for me. Probably coming out with this one a bit late, shenanigans, always, because it was at 5 a.m. I did not want to really get up at friggin' 5 a.m. to see this show that much. I did want to see the show, obviously, but I didn't want to get up at goddamn 5 a.m. to see the goddamn show. So yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, this show finally finished up watching it. And yeah, I don't know what to think, dudes, in many ways. So let's go along with some of the more breaking news at the end of the show, I guess. Destination X is returning November. So that's interesting. That's after Bound for Glory, which is in October. Yeah, October, I think. So that's kind of cool. I don't remember the last time Destination X happened. I'm sure they'll say it at some point. First time in 9 years. Actually, I just read this. Okay, all right. But that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's something to do after Bound for Glory. And before Genesis, I suppose it'd be cool to see some more X Division stuff happening and whatnot as well. So I'll wait to see that with bated breath, so to speak, and whatnot. One of the other more newsworthy things, besides the shenanigans of the main show or what have you, is the introduction of the new Knockouts TV title. Now, I think it's a little bit weird in some ways that they're basically only gonna have this title be defended on TV, especially when they said, hey, we're going to give you opportunities like never before, and you're going to be able to prove this on the biggest stages of them all, and yada, yada, yada. But then say, oh, this is only going to be ever defended on TV. Obviously, the idea there in some ways is to be like, well, now it's got to be defended on pay-per-view or whatever else it is, because the situation has called for it or whatever else it is. But yeah, I do think having a title like that is kind of cool, and it is kind of a different vibe to the division, and really adds a lot of I say a lot, but a lot of announcements realistically for the TNA Hall of Fame at Bound for Glory. So we've got now ODB, Amazing Red, and Conan. There's never been three inductees. There's been two inductees. There's been There's been tag team inductees, which I guess you could count as more than one. But yeah, I don't know what to think there. But those are the more noteworthy other things that came out of this show, besides the actual results and whatnot, and we will get to those right here, right now. We're going to talk about the countdown show, the first match between Elena Black, Indy Hartwell, and Mara Sade. I think that this one was pretty darn short, but then again, I think that there was probably a decision to cut some time from this match because they decided to put another match on the pre-show, which was a good decision, but that match also felt like it suffered a little bit from not having enough time as well. But yeah, this was a good match, or a decently okay match for the pre-show. Interested to see that Enya Black won this one. And they're really pushed the Indy Hartwell and the Mara Sade. They already said hey, you girls, will be in this division effectively. But they said 18 women are gonna, or 16 women or whatever are gonna be in this thing. And the tournament starts next week on TNA Impact to determine the champion. Is there even 18 women on this roster. I mean, besides like the champions and things like that, I don't really know. I mean, like maybe like you could fudge it by having Demon Bunny and some of the other like tag team style wrestlers on there, but I don't know whether Alicia counts as one, but whatever. I guess I'll count her. So Ali 2, Ash 3. Though again, I don't know whether Ash counts, but whatever. So that's 3. I'm not counting Daria, but Demon Bunny, so that's 4, 5. Elena 6. I'm not going to count Gia, because she's, well, not really a wrestler. Harley 7. Heather 8. Indy 9. Jada 10. Jody, she hasn't been around for a while, but I guess she's still on the roster. She's 11. Laying Lee is 12. Mara M by Elegance is 13. Mara 14. Mila 15. Oh, okay. I didn't realize there were that many girls on this roster. Tasha 16. Is there anyone really else? Victoria Crawford. That's about it. So there's like actually 17. Besides like the champions and whatnot. But yeah, that's interesting in some ways. But yeah, we will wait to see. I think them announcing, hey, this tournament's gonna start. They already said, like, I think it's Moose versus AJ Francis next week as well. So yeah, some cool stuff there as well. I wait to see the brackets, and the new belt does look pretty decent as well. I am curious as to think whether they're going to keep up the Knockouts tag team titles, because, like, if you are, like I've said this 1,000 times, you really need to invest in that division, and you need to, like, you know, get more female tag teams together and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like, this is fine. I know what you're going to do and who's going to be the champion, but, like, for now, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah. Let's move on. The next match was Ricky Sosa versus Eric Young. Yeah, like I said, this one was a bit short, but it was all right. I do feel like it really needed... Oh, actually, I will talk about something else here just for a second. Mustafa Ali did come out to discuss his upcoming match, his surprise title match, whoever his surprise contender was. Yeah, I do feel like this was a vehicle. This was serviceable for kind of what we... And again, it's like pre-show stuff, you know, like... And perhaps, like, again... Like, there's sometimes this time gets away. And again, like, sometimes again, like, you've got to be like, oh, well, how much stuff is on the main show? There's way lots on the main show. So I can understand why that the other match got moved. But anyway, Mustafa Ali came out to talk about his upcoming match. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Sorry, I got distracted because dogs are barking. And carry on. But anyway, so, yeah, Mustafa Ali found out that his match wasn't just a regular match. It is a triple threat, but we will find out who his 2 opponents are later on in Slammiversary. But either way, Eric Young versus Ricky Sosa. Like I said, this match was pretty serviceable for what it is trying to do, which is, like, establish Sosa. I mean, I know it's not on the main show, and it's a little sad or whatever else it is in that regard, but, like, the main show, it's, like, really tough to find space for anything sometimes, and like I said, there was way too many matches on this show as it is, so it's like, well, not too many, but, like, there's too many other, like, yeah, where are you gonna fit? You're just gonna get blown out by something else, so it's like, yeah... I mean, maybe with a little bit more time, this could have had, like, something else, but, like, yeah, I don't know. It's it's fine, I guess. But yeah, Ricky Sosa got the win here, and I'm happy to see Sosa getting the win because like I say, it's the same thing with like some of the other matches that I'll talk about, and I'll say more about it then. But like this has to be the new era. TNA has a 10 belt salute for Joe Doring, who recently passed away. So yeah, respects to Joe's family. I don't know, obviously I don't know them personally or anything like that, but, you know, um, yeah, and TNA dedicates the show to Joe. I was almost thinking, like, man, maybe they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame, but maybe they'll do something else similar. Maybe they'll have a Joe Doring award of some sort. I don't know. Something like that. But then again, like, a lot of people have passed away and things like that. I don't want to, take down his memory or anything like that, but, it is like, well, I don't know whether that makes a whole lot of sense, but anyway. Up next is the Ultimate X. Really good, really exciting. Obviously, like all these Ultimate X's are always like really fun. They're really good. They're really exciting. They, when you start the show with these matches, it get the show and the blood pumping for the rest of the show. This was great stuff. Cool to see Amazing Red back in there. And the first entrant in this as well, basically, in that regard as well. I still feel like what you're doing here or what's going on here is like, I don't know, how would you word it? It's one of those things of the whole thing is still about like Leon and Cedric. At least you do have like you're featuring some of these other guys in this position, but like, I mean, Casey has some level of story, somewhat. I mean, but, and that's kind of interesting. And I said, before, there could be some more to that as we will see to come, hopefully. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that. But almost everyone else, I mean, Eichner's had a little bit of involvement with the system, but still, like, he hasn't really settled into a story yet with anybody. And that'd be good for him to feud with Mr. Elegance or feud with Kaz or something like that. I don't know, just to give him something to work with. But this was cool. Very cool to see Red. Very cool match. Lots of action everywhere. A lot of matches actually had a lot of high flying sort of action everywhere. Because you had the ladder match later on tonight, which had a lot of that same vibe of like just bodies going everywhere and chaos and whatnot and things like that. So, but yeah, no. Very cool, very cool. But yeah, like Cedric did retain here. So obviously, again, like I said before, he's only really just won it. So there's there is times that I feel like, yeah, you have to hot potato the title or whatever else it is. Because it's like, well, this is the only story or the only thing that makes any sense. So, or whatever, this is the point that we wanted to get to. So now this is where we're going. And now hopefully things will kind of settle down. We'll talk about more of that sort of stuff later as we go along. I'm pretty sure, because there's a lot of things going on with that. Next up, AJ Francis versus Elijah. As soon as this was changed to basically having Elijah's, rights and ID on the line and all that sort of stuff, I changed my mind. And I'm glad I did, because even if I had have thought, oh yes, this should keep going and it's only really just started or whatever else it is, it's like, yeah, we can't have you could have Francis lording it over Elijah for a while, but still, eventually Elijah's gotta win back his rights and that sort of thing. So, but still, I still think it's a bit silly at times or whatever. But yeah, it's fun. One of the funny things here is Francis now is going under the moniker of Mr. Slammiversary. I think that's a that's a funny little, well, not a jab, but like that's a funny little thing there, and I think that's quite cool in some ways, because like, not to say that you should do these things to chip at WWE or people in WWE or whatever, but like sometimes it's like, well, you got to make some noise, you gotta get people talking, and that moniker, it's never been taken, so it's right there, kind of thing. So I think it works, and I think it makes sense. Pretty decent fight though, pretty decent. But I don't know. I just didn't like. I think that this needed a bit more. It needed to try probably be in the cage or be a bigger fight or whatever else it was. I think like it was okay, but it wasn't quite to that level. But then again, it wasn't the main event, so I get it. You can't like go too far and do too much because again, like ruins the main event or ruins other matches or whatever else it is. So I can get why it wasn't the match of the night or whatever, and things like that. I don't even know which one was the match of the night though, really, besides like maybe the Ultimate X or maybe the ladder match. I don't know, but like yeah, not this one, unfortunately, but not a bad match, no. But yeah, nothing, not strong enough to really like face up against those other matches. But yeah, Elijah got the win here, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here, and what he does. So, and same with Francis. Like I said before, he's facing Moose in an upcoming match. Kind of like to see Francis get the win there. I don't know whether that's going to happen. Even if like he loses, at a upcoming pay-per-view or something like that. I do feel like though as well, we've said it so much, like when you're like looking ahead at Lockdown and there's not really that many tells to like what's going down at Lockdown yet, but still like when you're looking ahead, you're like, wow, this has to be doing something there potentially, so you've got to be thinking like that. But yeah, and that absolutely crazy Highwayman's farewell, like from the top of the ropes, effectively, and that like, well, the Highwayman's Destroyer or whatever it's called, that was crazy. But yeah, next up, the Knockouts Tag Team Title Match. Elegance Brand versus Demon Bunny. I was really up for this match, but it didn't really deliver to the level that I felt like it perhaps was. I felt like my investment was in some ways. Not that it was bad, but also like the build had been like not really great. Like I said, like in some ways you didn't do enough to kind of like get this over the hill, so to speak. And a lot of stuff like being in digital media or media exclusive only and never really recapped in like a package or anything like that, it really hurt this because despite that, the crowd was really hot for this and really wanted to see Demon Bunny get the dub here. But it was an okay match. That's what's also sort of like, didn't get it quite over the line, that it wasn't really the higher standard of match that you would want. And again, it's like really tough because again, it's like these are the only like kind of teams in this division. So it's like, you just know that like, well, they're going to have a rematch and then like what's going to happen? They're going to linger around. And I said maybe like before, like maybe you should get rid of these belts. I've said that so many times in the last like whatever couple of years. But like at a certain point, it's time to say, get rid of these things because you've got no one to, unless you're really going to invest in it. You've got to really, really invest in the division. Like seriously. And that's the thing. Like, it's just like, even if like you felt like, oh, well, the division was healthy or had a lot of teams in it, in other words. You still might be like, well, they tend to forget about this division. So it's like, who cares anyway? Because they'll forget about it, or once they go through the Elegance brand and maybe, Mila and Victoria, it's like, who else is there? They're like, unless you're going to debut a whole bunch of teams, like, yeah. And again, like, then there's the conflict of having the singles gold, or both the singles golds now or upcoming as well. So it's like, tough. But yeah, like, yeah, glad to see this one because Demon Bunny did pull it out. And I do feel like a change was needed, like, at least shift things. Like, it is just kicking the apple down the street a little bit more, I guess, but still, at least it is kicking that apple down the street, so to speak, because at least you've got something to work with. And then, like, again, you can do all sorts of things with Demon Bunny, and you can still do some stuff with the Elegance brand, who are both really entertaining. So it's like, yeah, this is cool. And it's kind of like cool moment to be like, I think, I can't remember, was it 4 or 5 tag team title wins that Rosemary's had now? I can't remember. But anyway, it's crazy. It's just like, she's equal up there with like anyone, almost everyone, anyone and everyone who's like held like huge amounts of gold, tag team gold, which is just crazy. She hasn't won a singles title in years, but like now she's won several tag team titles. So she's been a mainstay of like different tag teams and whatnot over the last few years. But yeah, some very cool stuff though, like here and there without the match and stuff like that. But yeah, still, I think it was not to say that it was just completely telegraphed or whatever, but it was just like, yeah, you haven't, like I said, you didn't really do enough with like the promos that Demon Bunny were cutting and stuff like that, of saying this is what it means to us and this is why we need to win and yada yada and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, there's only so many minutes and so many hours in TV. I get that, but again, that's where, like, again, make Explosion bigger, make Explosion better, make that more of a show of more of these like jobber matches or whatever else that don't really matter, and maybe have a quick replay or a recap or whatever else it is on the main show of some of these things when they do come together or when they matter or whatever else it is, and things like that. But yeah, like, other than that, it's like, well, who cares? Like, the rest of it doesn't matter, because, yeah, it was just a jobber match that they had on Explosion or whatever. But still, is what it is. Up next is the International Champion Open Challenge. First contender, surprise contender, was Rich Swann. He was actually there earlier in the night, and he was seen in the 10-bell salute there for Joe Doring. And he hasn't really had many matches in TNA of the light. And it's like a bit weird. What's the whole situation with BDE? Like, what's going on there? Because like they were tag team partners and then they're not, and now it's like, oh, well, BDE's not here. He was here like a couple of weeks ago, and now he's gone again. It's like, what's going on? I don't know, but still, like, I was almost expecting it to be BDE. That's my thoughts initially, because I was like hearing all sorts of rumors, and I'm sure a lot of you had heard the rumors, but it turned out to be Uhaa Nation, which is WWE's Apollo Crews, which is quite a weird name, but I'm assuming like that's his, like, or part at least of his African name or a real name or whatever. Isaac Uhaa. Okay. Sagesh. So that's his first name. So I'm just reading Wikipedia here. So yeah. I'm I know that there was a few reports of this, and we never really covered any of them. But it is cool, kind of, in a way, to see him. But, like, again, like, I will say this 10,000, 10 million times, whatever it is. Cool to see, like, these guys that come in and do stuff, but you know how you've got to use these guys? You know what I mean? And they actually did this with Cedric a little while ago. They brought him in, and now he's the champion. But the thing is, it's like, well, even though that he didn't really get a great run, the run that he's having, per se, it isn't, and it shouldn't be for him in many ways. It is, giving him something, but it shouldn't be for him at the end of the day. It should be for somebody to topple him. And same if Uhura here is going to stick around. Any of these WWE guys need to make way for the new, young, up-and-coming guys. So, I don't know whether he's signed, or what. Actually, I'm wondering if he is signed, or whether this is just a one-off appearance. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah. Let's have a look. Where are we? Let's see, where are we? Where are we? Alright, here we go. Let's see. I can't find things today, apparently. No, apparently not. Apparently cannot find things today. Nope. Oh, well. I don't think that he is signed as of yet. Maybe he is, but I haven't seen anything to the contrary or whatever, so we'll have to take it on that he is, like, this is a appearance, and maybe, like, it's a handshake agreement, and we'll see how this pans out and how long he sticks around and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Whoa, what's happening there? Whoa, why did that open like that? What's going on there? Anyway, whatever. But Mustafa Ali, this one was a great match, by the way. This one was probably the best match up till this point, I would say, which was, like, I don't know whether it's saying something, but it's like, duh, of course. Like, it's Mustafa. Oh, well, actually, the Ultimate X was really good. Oh, it's between this and the Ultimate X. The Ultimate X was the first really good match. This was, like, the second really good match, I would say. But yeah, like, obviously this was a little less chaotic. This was, again, bodies everywhere. But yeah, Mustafa Ali was able to retain here tonight. And like I said, like, he's not losing that until, like, maybe Destination X, actually. I said before, like, maybe he'll lose it at Genesis, or at Bound for Glory or something. But, maybe Destination X. Who knows? We'll wait and we'll see. Where are we next? Oh, the match between Moose and Eddie Edwards, the No Surrender match. Like, this was more about the emotions and whatnot going along this, especially with, like, them getting Moose's wife and son involved in this. Somewhat cool in some ways to do that and to help, the match, get that, like, extra little bit of depth and that extra little bit of grit or whatever else it is and all that sort of stuff. very, very violent match. Like, I think, like, the ladder match is the only other match that was really this violent. Like, because, like, at least they're using weapons and stuff like that. Um, like, in Ultimate X, there was, like, fights and things like that, and there, whatever, but, like, and there's scuffles among the structures and things like that. So they did use the structure as a weapon at times, but no, but that's obvious as well, because again, you want to save as much violence as what you can for a match like this that really, really needs it. And you really need to have that feeling of, oh, okay, shit is going down, things are getting wild and getting crazy because this is super personal. And like I said this before, I said, like, I've gauged a lot of people's like feedback of like hearing what a lot of people have had to say and had to think about things. Like, again, I feel like people are kind of ready for this to kind of be over. So I don't know whether it's over, but like, and in some ways I am too, because it's like, well, I want to see Moose challenged or be challenged by guys like Bear Bronson and other guys like that need to be built up, or other guys that, again, just need to be built up, like AJ Francis and guys like that, or whatever. Same with Eddie. He needs to be facing the younger talent and whatnot, and helping them grow and helping them get to the next level. So yeah, I much rather see that. But yeah, Moose was able to battle through all the odds seemingly, and come out the victor in this one. Very cool, sort of street fight style match here. Yeah, and very violent. But yeah, very cool. I think that this one was probably on the same par, or just about, especially with all the emotions going into it, as the Ultimate X and as is the Ali match. So I would rate them about the same in that regard. Yeah. Up next is the Langley Xia Brookside Knockouts title match. I don't think that this match was in a good position in many ways. This match was in a difficult position, and I think they did the best with what they could in this match, because you're just following the last match being like absolute banger, really good, really crazy, like lots of plunder and all of that sort of stuff. And then after this was the ladder match, so this was like a little bit of a piss break match, unfortunately, in feeling. Like, yeah, and the match started fairly slowly, realistically, and it never really felt like it got going and got into a, well, I don't know whether to say into a gear or whatever else it is, but like, yeah, I don't know. This match, I feel like, was also fairly short as well in many ways, and I just feel like perhaps they got some time cut from their match, just due to like the show going long or whatever. So I do feel like perhaps there was some of that where it was like, no, and the thing is, it's like, well, then they maybe should have rushed it a bit more. They should have like pushed it into overdrive a bit more or something like that. I don't know, but it was so tough to follow that hellacious like match before it, and it's like, well, you're sandwiched in between like the ladder match that's just about to come, as I said. So it's like, well, it just was like really hard done by the placement on the card. Like, if it had been before the Eddie Edwards Moose match, it's like, oh yeah, it's better placement, but maybe it still would have like been a little bit underwhelming, just like, especially if it was like saying they got the minutes that they got and they did the match that they did, which would have been basically the same. but it would have been probably a bit better off. But then again, it's like going to be really tough to have that serious, like, well, I quit match effectively, then the ladder match. Got two back-to-back, like, really big banger matches. So I don't know, maybe it needed that sort of slow down, cool down sort of period just for fans to catch their breath and whatever else it is. So I don't know, but yeah, it certainly did that in many ways. But again, also it really just didn't hit the way that I think that it should have hit. And yeah, especially for the story that, like, despite like that story being told in the last like couple of weeks or whatever else it is, the story that actually exists, if you look at the story without like looking at the time that it actually took, was quite good. But like the time that it took probably also like made it like a lot more or a lot less like people really cared all that much, I guess, in some ways as well. So, but yeah, I don't know. Cool to kind of see this as well, because like I think she posted this on Twitter or something there. This is Zaya, who won this match. First title in 11 years, singles championship. She's been here in TNA for a long time, and she really hasn't gotten an opportunity very much. And like finally it's her time to be that person. And it's going to be tough because, again, like, I don't know who really like, there's a couple of people, but like there's not really enough. There's not really enough great baby faces for her to face. I mean, like, obviously you get to face Lay again in a rematch, but still, I don't know. And that's the thing, like, I don't know whether the mid-card title, again, like, this is another problem of these, like, these other titles. It's like, well, they take away contenders, but then again, it's like, well, you have so many people that you're not really doing anything with, and like, again, you need to build them up. So what's the best way to build them up? Well, mid-card title. So, like, good idea in some ways, but like it's also like, well, are you actually going to commit to it? What's going on? How many bodies have we got to work with? So yeah, I don't know. Up next is the 4-way ladder match. This was insane, absolutely insane stuff going on here. Like I said, bodies everywhere in this one, stuff going on everywhere. I actually loved that the Righteous brought out their wicked ladder, or whatever else you want to call it, their ladder coated in flowers and barbed wire and stuff like that. That was really cool to kind of, adding to this match and whatnot, and have that in here. That was that, and it was used several times throughout the night for different things and whatnot throughout the night. I actually expected, like, I think going into this, that the Righteous would win. But I think I'm probably a little bit dyslexic, I guess, in this regard, at least, because, like this made me actually a bit mad as well. But, you know what? Again, like, if they use this reign correctly, and they do, hopefully, what I am hoping that they're going to do with this reign, that it will, make me pretty happy, at least. I hope, like, it'll do something. So, yeah, ultimately, I see this going down between the Hardys and the Righteous. Maybe that's it at Lockdown. I don't know. Maybe that's at Bound for Glory. I mean, like I said before, like, that's where the main story is. So it had, like, I felt like the Righteous should win it, but, like, I feel like if, like, in this match, the Hardys won this match, which is, like, to me, but that's just me. The fans, like, were really into it. They were really happy with this, in the arenas and whatnot. But, like, if you're gonna go down the route of having them have like a few months title reign up to Bound for Glory or Genesis or whatever else it is, and then the Righteous are gonna win those belts off the Hardys, that seems cool. Like, that seems like, that's where this is going. And I don't know exactly when and exactly where and exactly how or what have you. And then it's like, well, what do you do with the Righteous after you do that? I guess as well, true. But, like, again, it does feel like that's our direction, at least, or that's the most major thing. But then again, like, Bound for Glory is there, so it's like, you, like, feel like it's probably happening there because it's just, like, the biggest thing. So it's like, well, but also, like, you've also got to be thinking, well, lockdown's coming. So I feel like these two almost have to be on opposing teams in some ways. I don't know how you're really gonna make that work. I don't know. Like, I've talked about it a bit, but still, it's just, like, I wasn't really happy with this finish, but I was, like, thinking, like, oh, well, this has got to lead to something for the Righteous. And I do hope that it leads to something for the Great Hands as well. Like I said this before, like when they were added to this match, these guys have been overlooked, man. And I want to see them actually, like, in this division and doing something. Because, like, again, like I say, it's great to have these ex-WWE talents and whatnot and superstars, especially for the more casual fans. But without, like, same thing, like, this is something that I heard Paul Heyman talking about when he was, like, coming or looking to come into the company, that TNA didn't want to get rid of any of their legends, effectively. And this is the sort of thing. It's like, yes, the legends are great. The legends are amazing. But if you don't get your legends out of the way at a certain point, well, your younger guys, your up-and-coming guys can't get to the next level. If you always went with the Road Warriors, you would have never got the Hardys. Like, what I mean. Like, so they would have never gotten anywhere. If you kept going, the LOD are our guys, the LOD are our guys, those are our superstars, So you would have never got guys like the Hardys or Edge and Christian or any of these other guys or whatever. And, like, not that WWE did a great job after the Hardys and after Edge and Christian and after that of making tag teams and things like that, but there's been a few tag teams that have sort of made themselves and done a good job of doing things and whatnot. But yeah, like, not to say that everyone has to be a tag team star either, but, like, if you're gonna be, like, every division, this is the thing, every division needs a set of superstars. And you need to make a new set of superstars in every division. You can't just be like, the only division to get excited about is the world title division. That's the only division that has an actual set of superstars. Every other division, people are going to backstab people and people are going to, do this and do that. And none of these other titles really mean anything or you should really care. All that matters really is the world title. Yes, like, the world title is the most important, but these other titles have to mean something. They have to be more than just, like, a roadblock or whatever else it is for people to be like, oh, okay, they're actually going to do something with this, and they're actually going to be showcased and developed, and then maybe if they're, like, getting to that next level, then they will get to that world title, but we'll have to wait and see. But still, yeah, like, this was pretty good, but, like, I wasn't into, like, the finish that much just because that's where I'm at. But then again, it is like, well, if you lead into, like, that storyline that I'm sort of alluding to, I guess, which is sort of, like, very similar to the storyline of not Immortal, what is it? The Main Event Mafia. Basically, start saying that Jeff and Matt are, like, the Main Event Mafia for some of these guys. Like, you're just, these WWE Mafia guys or whatever it is. It's like, that's the sort of idea. That TNA stars have always had this issue where it's like, you get these big WWE stars and they outshine everyone else, and it's like, well, what are the, younger guys meant to do? Yeah, so I'd like to see more of that for the Great Hands, especially, but, like, I don't think they're going to win it, but, like, at least not now, but, like, at least that's a good story and something good for the Hardys to sink their teeth in, and for the Good Hands to sink their teeth into, and then, like, maybe next year you'll get to see them do something big, at least if they're sticking around, which, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Is it time for the main event? I think that's about it, isn't it? This is the main event. Yeah, okay, cool. Oh my god. Well, the question I have coming out of this main event, like I said before, is this it? In some ways. So, everyone should already know the result of this, so yeah, Mike Santana did not retain, and Nick Nemeth won the title here. Like I said, this is just, like especially with last year. I think last year I said this, no, it wasn't last year, it was the year before that, wasn't it? Whatever it was, yeah. Like 2 years ago, I think that was, like, a bad decision to put it on Nick Nemeth. I think that this is, like, a bad decision, but it seems like the only thing that you could do in some ways. I don't know. There's not really... And this is why the division, like, I've been complaining, it doesn't feel like there's anyone ready to face Nick anyway. So, and Nick's now heel again, after, like, 2 seconds of being babyface, like, a couple of weeks ago, or whatever else it was. So, I don't know. There's just not any really big babyfaces ready. And you could say, oh, well, let's put some time into Casey Navarro. Well, that's going to take, like, a year, more than a year to really do. 6 months to a year, 8 months. It's not going to happen in the next, like, well, even though I say that, or even more, but still, that's how long the title reign I would expect to be. Like, maybe Genesis, you could say he could lose it. Maybe that's what happened last time. I don't know, but still, I just don't think that there's anyone really there. And that's the problem. Like, even if you look, like, maybe Elijah, but that's it. Like, even if you look beyond, like, that there's not really enough guys there, it's like, well, a difficult position to kind of be in. But it does help build these young guys. So, I don't know. I'm actually going to go through quickly as possible, the rest of the male roster, words, that I think we could see. Let's see. So Elijah, very maybe. I don't really see that. And I don't see the point in putting it on Elijah at all. Moose, maybe, but then same thing. Don't really see the point in putting it on Moose. Yeah, that's about it. That's really it. Wow, okay. Unless you're going to turn a whole bunch of people babyface, that is it for, like, the male, like, babyface side of the roster. I mean, maybe Trey Miguel comes back, but still, like, he's not ready for a world title picture. I mean, you could build him to a world title picture in, like, the same period of time, like 6 months, 8 months or something, but still, like, really, there's not really anyone here that really screams big time babyface main event level star. So I think that this was a move out of somewhat necessity in some ways, but it's also a move out of like, well, now what are we gonna do? Because you haven't got very many challengers to Nick Nemeth, and like, as I said, the ultimate question I have for Santana is this it? Or is he going to stick around? Is he going to stick around till, lockdown? Because, like, he's on a lot of the posters, and I said this before. Is he going to stick around till Genesis? When is he actually leaving? Is this it for him? Who knows? I don't know. So, I don't know. And especially just to end the show completely there and not have somebody like debut or come out or whatever. Again, when you're making these shows, you're not just saying this is what happens. You're saying here's what you have to try to tune in for next time. So you want that cliffhanger of somebody's music hitting or something happening. And it's like, okay, this is going to be the next challenger and whatnot. You want a debut or you want something at the end of this to be like, oh shit, tune into this to see what happens. But yeah. So we've got, like, I will go through some of the more minor shows that are upcoming. Wednesday, July 1st and July 2nd, Albany, New York. That's the next set of shows coming up. Then it is, where is it? It's the 30th and the 31st. So not a lot of live shows. The 30th shall be a live show, though, which is pretty cool. Interested to see that. Then you've got Lockdown. Then you've got August the 27th, which is another live show. Friday, August 28th, which is another taping show. Then you've got live on September 24th, and then a taping on Friday, September 25th. I'm not going to go through the locations for everything here. I've already forgotten most of them, but whatever. And then you've got Bound for Glory, October 11th. Then you've got November 15th, Sunday. Then you've got Wednesday, November 18th, Thursday, November 19th. Then you've got December 17th, December 18th. Wow, actually, the Destination X isn't on this one yet. Where is that? They did say it. They did in fact say it. Where is it? Where are we? I do not know. I don't know. We will find it. We will find it. If I can. Was it? It was before the ladder match, wasn't it? Sunday, November 15th. Okay, is Destination X. So that is, where is that? November 15th. Where is that? November 15. November, August, September, October. Oh no. So, yeah, that must be that. It just says, it doesn't say the actual event name. But it's the first thing after Bound for Glory at Current, which is a bit weird. Like, you should have more things before that you should have a show, at least one taping after Bound for Glory. Like, you're not, like, last year you went off for a year, but you shouldn't do that. Or for a month you went off the air, but you shouldn't do that again. But it looks like what we're doing, maybe they'll put some stuff in the can. I hope they'll put some stuff in the can. Proper stuff this time, not just, talking heads stuff. But anyway, for now, I think that's pretty much everything. And we haven't got a lot of lead in for lockdown. I'm honestly, like, very interested in some ways with, like, how they're gonna do. Well, I don't know. They're not having the finals in lockdown, are they? Because they said, like, the title's pretty much just gonna be, like, on TV. So it's got to be, like, decided in the next couple of weeks, the Knockouts TV title. So, but yeah, we'll wait and see for that as well, I suppose. Like, they could change that, at least have the finals at the pay-per-view, or whatever. But yeah, I'm not happy with the decision, obviously. But again, it's just, and it's, oh well, I mean, like, I would say, like, same thing with, like, well, I'm about to say Apollo Crews, but Uha Nation. I haven't got used to the new name, guys. Sorry, but he's not ready for a main event level spot. But yeah, it'd be good to build up at least some of these younger guys to that main event spot. And you really need to do that, especially now. It's like, especially if Mike Santana's leaving, which assumingly he is, whether he's leaving right now or leaving at the end of the year or whatever, I don't know, whatever, but still, you've got to be like, yeah, it's Nick Nemeth is here, but that can only last for so long. You can't have him champion for forever and a day. That doesn't work, and, Casey is the person that I have the most, like, thought about. Like, he's the one person that actually has somewhat of a story already there. So if you really pushed him hard and you really gave him the ball, like, maybe you could do it. I don't know, but, like, you really need to work that angle. That's the angle for the next 6 months then. You know what I mean? Not pursuit B, not pursuit D, not pursuit F, not pursuit Y, whatever else it is. You've got to be, no, he's got to be laser focused on the Nick Nemeth and that storyline and that situation, and it's got to culminate at a certain point and then happen. And somehow, some way, this kid's got to do it. But then he's got to actually be the guy and be the champion and all that sort of stuff, and then carry the division, and we'll wait and see how that goes. Because, like, that's the only other person that I could think, like, you could actually build to that position that's not already a main event level person, but actually has a story or actually has some connection or actually has some reason. And it would be best. It would be the best thing to do, I think. I don't think there's anything else. But, and again, like, are you, like, even if you're going to bring in some other WWE, ex-WWE guys, or even if you're going to bring in some more indie guys, I don't know. Even, like, Ricky Sosa, I don't know. Like, he's got no story, and he's really just started, so it's like, well, you're, like, at least, like, Casey has been here, and, it is what it is. So, yeah, at least people can feel like they have a level of connection to him being here for, like, basically a year or two or so. Yeah, so, but yeah. We'll wait and we'll see for it. And I do cross my fingers for it, so we'll wait and we'll see. But yeah, we won't be able to really judge and able to tell what we're doing at lockdown for quite a while. But yeah, like we'll just do the same thing weekly, trying to pass it and trying to see. Actually, I did wonder if like Road Dogg got his name on the Bound for Glory credits of production. I don't know whether he did. I didn't see it, but you guys can let me know. Maybe it's on next week. Who knows? Wait and see. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed, and hope you'll join me again in another one.